What's going on, guys? My name is Joey and welcome back to another video here on my channel. Now today I'm going to be making a video because this has been getting requested more and more from some of my viewers that I do this. This video today is not going to be a build video. This video today is going to be all about my settings. I'm going to be showing you guys my graphics settings. I'm going to be showing you guys my HUD settings, my scaling settings, everything I have set up. Just so if you guys want your game to look more like mine, if you want your settings, your HUD to look more like mine, then these are the settings that I use. So to get us started here, we're going to hop right into our video settings here. So I play on borderless full screen. I play on borderless because I'm on the wiki a lot. You could just run your mouse right off the screen by opening a text box, on like any menu, anything like that. So it's really nice to have it on borderless. Also, if you're playing on Windows 11, there is an optimization setting for borderless full screen. So borderless is actually a good option for high performance on like a few years back where it wasn't, where you would want to go with full screen for the best performance possible. If you have Windows 11, you run the right setting. This is actually very, very good. I get great performance on my builds while I'm recording. Everything works really, really well. So I play with VSync off. I like to keep VSync off on here. I have my max frame rate set to no limit. As depending on what kind of content you're in, like me sitting in the menus right here, I'm at about, you can see in the bottom left corner here, I'm about like 148, 149. It's just like teetering back and forth. It depends on where you are. If you're in like meta endo, I've seen my frame rate go up to 300 plus, which is really good for a farm like that because frame rate is important for something like larva. But also, just in a lot of content, your frame rate's going to go up, it's going to go down, but for the most part, this game runs pretty steadily. I don't really get a lot of frame dips unless I'm using things that are intentionally trying to get my frames to dip. Like when I was making my mag video the other day and I was using Nataruk, like that will intentionally make my frames dip because of the projectile and things like that, so just keep that in mind. So I just have 50% brightness, 50% contrast normal here. I go for max FOV. We're playing a third-person game here. We want as much visibility as possible. I got my FPS showing on here, of course. I have an NVIDIA graphics card, so I'm using DLSS upscaling. This provides me with a massive boost in my frame rate. If you guys are running an NVIDIA graphics card, I don't even have a newer card. I have a 3060 Ti, not even a new card, not even like a super top card, just like a very average card. And I get really good frame rate when I have DLSS on. You can see here, if I turn it off, my frame rate already has dipped down to 88, 89 frames, which is a huge dip in frame rate for me. So if you just go back in the settings here and you see if I turn DLSS back on, if you have AMD, you use FSR. If you have an AMD card, if you have an NVIDIA card, go for DLSS. And then you'll see here when I hit confirm, my FPS is going to jump back up to 150. So it's pretty much doubled my FPS. So really important that you have that on if you're playing on PC on Warframe. Just make sure you match your card correctly. Quality, I'm just using auto. Sharpness is at 50. My graphical presets, now everything is all custom. Geometry, I go for medium. Shadows, I have it medium. Texture memory, I'm using high. This is to allocate more VRAM to the game from your graphics card. So if you're having trouble getting higher frame rates, turn this up. You'll allocate more VRAM and it'll be able to use more resources to run the game a bit smoother. Particle system quality I have on low. GPU particle quality I have on medium. Anti-aliasing, all this comes off, I believe, when you turn on DLSS. Yeah, when you turn DLSS on, all this turns off automatically. So don't worry about any of this. Anisotropic filtering I have on a 2x. Doesn't seem to really affect my performance all that much, so I just leave it on here. Trilinear filtering I have on default. Now, as far as my advanced settings go, I have dynamic lighting on, I have volumetric lighting off, local reflections off, SSAO quality is on very high, I have SSGI off, volumetric fog quality I have on high. You can lower this if you want. I think this just like adds to some of the aesthetics, especially with the new lighting that they have. So if you guys want to lower this, if you don't like the volumetric fog, you can lower this quality of it a bit down. So I also run high shader quality. Obviously, we want no motion blur, we want no depth of field, no distortions, no glare, no film grain, and no bloom. All of these are just big negatives, guys. Turn all of these off. They're all going to hurt. Now, you turn bloom off, you don't have to worry about the intensity. We have elemental weapon FX on, color correction is on, contact shadows I have off, character shadows I have off, sun shadows I have off, enhanced details I have, or decals I have on. Optimize flip model, I have off. But yeah, I have Windows 11, so don't worry about this. Reduced frame latency, I have this on. And that's going to be it for all of the actual video settings itself. So if you guys are curious about my actual video settings and how my video settings look, this is how they all look. My game runs really, really well. Like I said, I have a very average graphics card. My PC is maybe 3 or 4 years old at this point. Definitely getting, maybe another year or so. It's going to be doing some big replacing. But for now, works really, really well for me on Warframe, most of the games I play. These settings work really well. Now, if you're curious about my interface settings, I can go over my interface real fast. My menu scale is custom. I use 85 menu scale. This is the size that I like to use for like any menu searching around. Now, the reason I have this on 85 is because you'll be able to see here, if I confirm these settings here and I go into my arsenal, if I was to look at my frames, you can see I have lines of 4. If I was to go back in, and let's say I was going to put this setting up 1 to 90, let's say here. Now it's only 3. And I believe the exact cutoff number for this was 86. That's why I have it on 85, but I can double check. I believe if, hold on, let me check this. 80, yep. Okay, yeah, it's not letting me change the number, so we'll just put it on 85, and if you put it on 85, then you'll see here when you go to your frames, now you'll have lines of 4. It makes looking at your inventory a lot easier, I find. So if you guys are ever like wondering how like people get their arsenal to look a little bit different, that is the button. It is right in the interface, and it is the scale option. Just drop it down to 85. All this stuff really isn't all that important. My HUD, obviously I have my HUD on. My HUD scale, I have it 71, and these are the margins I use. They're a bit enclosed. I play on a 27-inch monitor. I know a lot of people play on consoles, so they play on TVs and things like that. If you guys have the option to change this, I'd recommend you squeeze it in a little bit. If you play on anything, I'd say bigger than a 24-inch. I used to play on a 24-inch, and I played full size, and it was really nice for me. But playing on a 27 now, I like to have everything a bit more towards the center so I don't have to look so far to the corner of my screen. So these are the margins that I use if you guys are interested in that. It's not an exact number, but you kind of get an idea of where my square is on my screen proportionate to the corners, things like that. So yep, those are my margins. My scale is here. Now, my damage number options, I am using Legacy as far as show damage numbers. The real difference between Legacy and something like Enhanced, as far as like what actual in-game differences you're gonna see, is gonna be that on Legacy, if you were to tier up a red crit, like say you were to get a T2 red, and you were gonna get a red with an exclamation point. So say yeah, you get a red crit as 1 exclamation point. You won't see that on Legacy. You're not going to see the exclamation point. So that's one thing I got to say about this that's different than Enhanced. If you're on Enhanced and you're ticking up higher than the 400% that it takes to hit that crit value, you're not going to be able to see it, but you're still going to see the number. You're just not going to see that you're getting that exclamation point. So that's the big difference between Enhanced and Legacy, at least in my eyes. The reason I go with Legacy is I've just been playing this game for so long. I prefer the classic Warframe damage numbers. So, it's just like that. Now, I use Compact. To me, I think anybody who doesn't use Compact is hoping that their damage numbers are higher than they actually are. I don't see any reason for you not to use Compact damage numbers. All it's going to do is turn that 2,147, XXX, XXX into 2.1B. These things, it's so much easier to read these numbers when you have compact damage numbers on than to try to read that whole long digit, especially when you're using something that's got high fire rate or like is a high status applicant, like a slash user, something like that that's going to be proccing in different instances, something that's like not heat. Something like that. It just makes it so much easier to read what's in front of you and what you're doing. like all those thumbnails you see on YouTube of all like the screen is covered in red 2.1 billion numbers. You know, it's just I hate that. So yeah, I like compact damage numbers. It lets you see things so much better. And really, if you're not using it, you're just trying to pretend like your numbers are bigger than they really are. Just use that compact damage numbers. I promise you, after you use it for a couple hours, you're gonna be thinking to yourself, why wasn't I using this before? Damage number scale I use at 73. This is nice, doesn't take up too much of my screen, allows me to see what I'm shooting at, like it's not just numbers over the body of the character. It's proportionate to like the size of, you know, what I would want it to be, so it works really, really well for me. And as far as damage numbers goes, nothing is really all that different inside of the actual damage numbers scale. So you don't have to worry about that now. Now, as far as what I have down here is I have show affinity numbers on, show player list on, show teammate glyphs instead of icons I have off. I like to be able to see what frame my teammates are playing without pressing escape or pause, whatever it is on the console you're playing on, you know, on the right side of your screen. So definitely just leave the icons on. Don't show glyphs. Show teammate names I have on. I guess it's totally up to you. Show ability dots on reticle. You also don't need this on. These are just the 4 dots that are under your reticle, which really has no real significance to your gameplay. If you guys are used to it, you can leave it on. For me, I don't really like it. Turn it off. Show enemy names, I have it on. Show health over enemies, definitely have this on. Lock map rotation, I actually have this off. I'm just used to playing the game this way. I know a lot of people like to lock the map rotation, but for me, I'm just so used to playing without it that I don't lock it. You can mark your pet if you honestly feel like it. Honestly, I think I'm going to turn this on. I don't even know why I don't have this on. Prefer overlay map, I have this off, and then landscape overlay map fade, I have this at 43. This is just to make it so like it's more see-through, the opacity of it. And then accessibility, I don't even know if there's anything here. Hold the aim weapon I use. I don't use toggle. Yeah, this is all just like from preference stuff in here. Really, it's all like your colorblind settings. Recoil type, this is our new setting to fix the recoil. If you guys haven't learned that you can fix your recoil from that irritating diamond, like no recoil thing that we had for a couple days, this is how you change it right here. Just change it to camera, turn it back to normal. Cloaked appearance, this is for your invisibility. This used to be auxiliary, but now it's in here. So like it was like the glow cloak, or like so you could be fully invisible, or people could see, or you could still see your character when you were invisible, but you still were invisible in a sense. Like you would have to look at your buff bar to tell that, or like the ability itself, depending on who you were playing. So I have that. And now character highlighting, I actually like to use character highlighting on. I use enemy red highlights with a 25 intensity. This is about how much they get lit up. It's really not all that much what it covers them in, and it really helps you to identify where the enemies are, where they're coming from, the crowds. I know this game a lot of the time can be stare at map simulator. For the times you're actually looking at the enemies to identify things, this is really, really handy. And to be honest with you, after you use it so much, it's like not really like an eyesore. I kind of forget that I even have it on sometimes. I'm just so used to seeing the red on everything. But with the very low intensity like this, you don't really see it. Like if you were to turn it up, it would be really, really bad. But for what we have right now at 25, it's really not much. Now I'd be able to show you better if it was, you know, not in here, because it's not showing me the actual correct value in here. But you know, you guys can test out the opacity values and see what you want. Now for the rest of this, hold a sprint dive on, trigger manual weapons to fire continuously. I would definitely use this. You know, this is for single fire weapons like the Fenmore, things like that. If you want to just hold a left click down, instead of spamming left click over and over, just to continue to fire the weapon, put this on. It's really, really nice. A lot of charge fire weapons that instant shoot after the charge is complete is really, really handy with these, like the Kuba, or not the Kuba, the Tome Finger, whether it's the primary or whatever. Very, very strong. And yeah, these are the rest of my settings here. 75 on the visual effects intensity. Reduce teammate visual effects I have on. Enable screen shake I have off. Yeah, and that's pretty much going to be it, guys. So as far as all my settings go, those are going to be my settings. I guess I can show you real fast my gameplay settings on my mouse and keyboard here. This is what I have on. Nothing really too crazy here, though. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video today, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for stopping by, watching. If you guys enjoyed my graphic settings for yourself, you know, tell me what you guys think down below. If you guys have any nice settings that you want me to try out, also leave a comment down below letting me know. I'd really appreciate it. So, you know, have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Enjoy, and peace.